I mean, Stage 32 literally resurrected my career. I was sort of a fledgling actor. I was going to all these auditions and not getting them. And it was through an announcement in Stage 32 that I actually booked a film called Hidden Hills. And through that started this whole chain of events that ended up us making our short, That's Opportunity Knocking, that led to winning 24 Film Festival awards. So I really think Stage 32.
Welcome to Stage 32's Member Spotlight. Today we're talking with Stephen Foster, actor, writer, and author of Awakening the Actor Within.
How great that here we are talking on this wonderful device through Stage 32. I mean, isn't that the whole point? Isn't that the whole point of what Stage 32 does?
Yeah.
You know, it connects people together. And I mean in a real way. There's the creative part, and then there's the selling part. And it's the creative part is what everybody wants to do. Now, that part is hard. That creating a script, creating a pilot, creating a body of work as an actor, it's hard. What's even more difficult and challenging is the second part. The actual putting it out there in the world to sell it. I mean, it took me 3 years to get That's Opportunity Knocking on Amazon Prime. Wow. It took me a long, I mean, we won a lot of awards. We won 24 awards for that short film, but it took me a good long time. And it took me a long, and I'm the one who did, my partner Chuck and I, we're the ones who did the bulk of the work to get that into film festivals. We didn't have a team behind us. I was the team. We were the team. And what I learned from that is, as an artist, you've got to depend on yourself. And if we had depended on the producing team of the movie, it would not, I mean, it was literally sitting in a drawer. It was literally going nowhere. And I was actually working the job I was working before I worked for Stage 32. A girl came in and said, you know, there's this place called Film Freeway, and you can submit your film to film festivals for free. And I said, oh my God, we can take that little project and submit it to film festivals. And that started my whole powder keg of my new career, because I actually took all of that power and angst and I made it happen. I made it happen. And as an artist, if you have that power, once you have that power, I'm not so willing to give it away anymore.
Amen. Hallelujah. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I think you're absolutely right. Like the next kind of level up as a professional is selling your work, not just doing the work. And once you realize the power you hold to sell it, yeah, why would you ever want to give it up? To be fair, there's a lot of conversations in the community about getting an agent or getting a manager or having someone else sell it for you. And it's like, have you tried selling it on your own? Like,
well, getting an agent and getting a manager is great if they work. If they're out there hustling, you know. If my manager were someone like RB, I would trust that would probably get done.
Yeah,
because he's a hustler. He's someone who actually gets out there and works and knows the value of working the work. Most people don't. You have to have an agent or a team behind you that's a go-getter, or you have to be the go-getter.
If nothing is coming to you, you are not being hired, find something to do and put it out there, because work finds you working. That was actually one of the first things that really drew me to your posts, was that you were really kind of building people up. And there's a version of building people up that's just straight talk, right? Like, you're great, you're going to do great, just keep at it. But it kind of it only lands so hard because they're just the same raw words that anybody can say, right? Your posts, however, were really specific, right? These are ways that you can find your voice, or these are ways that you can find your niche. And in supporting the community that way by giving that kind of specific language, it was almost like building them up from the inside. Like, I know you're capable, but now I need you to see how you're capable. Do the work and see how you're capable. And it was so magical. So back me up. How did you come up with these ideas?
Well, it came about of all my internal struggles as an artist and as an actor. I will just say this: I'm only 5 feet tall, and I have this voice. Now, you would think that that would be a shoe in and an easy niche, and it has not been. It's been very, very difficult. And what happened was, I actually didn't get cast a lot in college, and I actually gave up acting. And through a series of weird events, I ended up reading a book called The Artist's Way. And in that book, The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron teaches unblocking. And what happened is, a year into doing The Artist's Way, I had co-written my own show that I acted in, directed, and wrote and co-produced. And that show was called Diva Analysis, and it was a little small theater show. And what happened is, after I did that show, I realized I had a lot of blocks that only pertained to acting that The Artist's Way didn't cover. And so, as I was pursuing my own acting career, I sort of pulled all these tools and put them into like a toolbox, and it became my own theory called Awakening the Actor Within. And I wrote a whole book about it, because I believe a lot of actors get hurt in this business. Now, I'm not talking about writing, because that's a whole different ball of wax. But um, I believe a lot of actors get hurt in this business, and we don't have tools to address those situations. And that's why when I post something that says, you can do it, it's always followed up with, but you got to work. No one's going to hand it to you. And no one ever has handed me anything. I have never had the red carpet pulled out for me and come on in and we're going to open a door for you. It's always been me kicking down the door, like, one of Charlie's Angels. Hi-ya! So, so so I believe that artists get banged up, actors get hurt, they don't address those hurts, they end up discouraged and they stop. And my whole thing is, if you do come across those situations, which you will, you better have some tools in your toolbox so you don't quit. And that was sort of the cornerstone of my work. And what I teach people is, don't give up, but you got to do the work as well. And a lot of the work that I find that actors need to do, it's not the creative work, like I said at the beginning, it's not the craft that actors have to work on. They got that, and a lot of writers too. It's not your talent you need to work on or your writing. It is the networking and the marketing. And I know I'm probably sounding like RB, like I'm his like disciple or his cult follower, but I believe that you as an artist have got to get your butt out there and hustle. And the more, and usually the more talented you are, I find the shyer a lot of the talent is. Like if someone's really, really talented, let's say like a Uta Hagen, like the actress Uta Hagen. She wrote Respect for Acting. She was a huge actress in New York. She strikes me as someone who was not very aggressive in actually getting her career out there. She actually had a lucky break, but she seemed to be very vulnerable, and she never addressed anything about marketing or networking. It was all about the craft of acting. And so much of what I teach is the networking and the marketing of talent, because if you don't have someone doing it for you, and I don't mean just an agent sending you out on auditions, if you don't have someone marketing that talent, people are not going to pay attention to it.
Yeah. And as you were saying, that artists, actors get wounded. Like my brain just kept switching back over to massage, going, yeah, there's just a certain level of coping skills that we hope you have. And if you don't, we have to teach you.
That's exactly right. Um, I don't think that there are enough teachers out there who teach people about rejection.
Mm.
I mean, I get into fights with people all the time who say things like, "Well, you don't have a tough skin, you shouldn't be in the business. If you can't handle all your rejection, then you're weak." I don't agree with that. And I think that's very damaging to a lot of actors, because a lot of actors, we put a lot of time and energy into stuff to prepare for an audition. And and I think the more you put your energy into something, and the more hurt you get, the more you need survival skills. And one of the things I love about the book, The Artist's Way, is she teaches you how to ground yourself enough to have those survival skills. And one of the things I write about in my book is build your dream, but build it slowly and build it on solid ground. And I tell actors all the time, make your life normal so your creative life can be crazy, and it will be. Count on it. And a lot of actors need to develop a spine. I know I did, to be able to say no to people. No, I'm not going to do that. No, 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 no. Instead of yes, 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 I'm a little trained poodle jumping through the hoops at the circus, which is how, I will be honest, that's how I felt for many years as an actor. And my last agent, I told her, I said at the beginning of our meeting, I said, now listen, every agent I've ever had always sends me out on jockey, elf, and leprechaun auditions. I never book them because I am not one. I am 5 feet tall. And I'll be damned, within a year, she was sending me out on a jockey. And I said, I'm not going on that. And she's like, well, you know how hard it is for me to get you a TV audition? I said, no, frankly, that's your job.
No, but what I'm saying is I started out in that same kind of conundrum where it was hard for people to try and peg me for, well, where the heck do I put you? And it
That's
really,
why, that's why you peg yourself,
mm-hmm.
because you don't want to be lost in that sea of, I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
I mean, I was working in casting at one of the studios, and I remember they were choosing between two actors, and I overheard the conversation with the two people who were the gonna pick of this guy in a series, and they said, "Well, we're gonna go with this actor, because he has a point of view. This actor's good, but he doesn't have a point of view."
Mm.
And I think all artists have to have a point of view.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go into it going, I don't know who I am, I don't know what I am, you're leaving yourself open to a lot of debris and a lot of people identifying you.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous. So it's better that you take your shoulders, your plus size, your look, your eyes, your hair, and go, this is mine, and this is what the universe or God, whatever, gave me, and this is what I'm going to present to the world, unashamed.
Yeah.
Look at a talent like look at Bette Midler. She's someone who you look at her and you're like, what the hell is that? Early on, early on before she became famous, that red hair, that that nose, that the those boobs. I mean, she was like coming out of the gate looking like this really weird horse, creative horse. And my God, she embraced it because here's what happened, Kay. She found a group around her who filled in all of that for her. She actually was around a lot of gay men, and they built her, and these people created this persona for her that she was able to launch her career. A lot of actors don't get that. They take their flaws and go, oh, I need to change this, I need to change that. It might, when I was in college, the guru said, well, Stephen, you really need to lower that voice by an octave. No one's going to really believe that you're a man and you're only 5 feet tall. If you were a foot taller, I would cast you. And he was very snotty. And he didn't tell me that I could follow in the footsteps of Woody Allen. I could follow in the footsteps of Christopher Guest. I could do all of that comedy with this voice and my size. I could do all kinds of stuff. But
Yeah.
he never, but I didn't get that. I didn't get that when I was coming up. And you mentioned the age 27. 27 was when it changed for me, because
Really?
that's when I read The Artist's Way, and that's when I stepped back on stage. But between the ages of like 22 and 26, 27, I didn't act, all
Mm.
because I'd gotten banged up in college, and I was just I didn't know who I was. I
Mhm.
didn't know, and no one told me. So, it's my quest to tell actors, get to know yourself. Get to know yourself inside and out. Get to know your talent and know what it is,
Mm.
and learn how to put it out there 100%.
God, you're so inspirational, Stephen. If I haven't said it lately, I just want you to know, like, from my heart, this is so awesome.
That is what I would call your vein of gold. And I teach a whole part of my class in helping actors discover their vein of gold. And the vein of gold is what you're most passionate about, what you strongly connect to. And I tell actors all the time, if you can find material that is your vein of gold, dig it, mine it, own it, cash in on it. Because anything that you are passionate about is something that is gold for you. And a lot of actors and writers, we shortchange ourselves because, I'm going to put this to everyone gently, because they think that they can do everything. Actors think that they can act in everything, and every role is theirs. And what my contention is, and writers are trained to write everything, learn how to write everything. I don't believe that anymore. I believe that you should write what you are passionate about. You should act in roles that you're passionate about. And that's not to say that actors and writers cannot write and act in anything they damn well please, and they can. But I'm talking about the way to get people to look at your work and notice your work is to use your vein of gold. And if you use your vein of gold, that actually takes care of the branding. That actually lets you get to identify the box that you're in, as opposed to going outside. Because I think a lot of times actors and writers, we're looking for pats on the head all the time. Accept my work, love my work. And I think that's valid to a point, but there's a point where we have to validate our own work, our own, and I'm not even talking about self-esteem. I'm talking about owning your right to be an artist, whether it's acting or writing. And I think so much of us are trained, especially in LA, we're trained to always ask everyone's opinion. And I don't know if that's a good idea. It's not that I'm an ass. It's not that. It's just that I've seen so many good actors, good writers be bamboozled by people who don't understand the work, don't really look at it closely, are so quick to have an opinion on it, so quick to tear it down, so quick to jump in on it when they haven't read it really. And I think that's damaging to artists.
Yeah.
And my one of my things to artists is don't be so willing to give up that gold. Don't. In fact, I was working with I'm friends with someone who's very, I won't mention her name, but she mentioned to me that she wrote a screenplay and she sent it off to someone and she was all eager about it. But then she got the notes. And I said, now, now, my dear, I hope you're still sending that screenplay out. And she said, well, I need to make all the adjustments on it that this person told me to before I send it out. I'm like, aha. So she's not sending it out. She's doing what everyone else does. They go in, do a rewrite. We'll probably give it back to the person that gave the notes. They'll probably come up with 50 more notes, and it's not going anywhere. It's just being recycled.
Yeah.
When let's say she writes the perfect script, well, when she gets it sold, they're gonna make her rewrite it again. So it's all this perfectionism I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Um, I recently sold a script to a short script um, to a small theater company. And what I loved about these people is called the Little Johnny Dickens Show, and it is this cute little, and go back to my vein of gold. It's like Hee Haw meets Waiting for Guffman. It's like Southern. It's it's like a variety show. And what I love about this group of people, and they're in Lowell, Massachusetts, of all places, and not in Hollywood. They took my work and they said, we like it as it is. They didn't sit there and demand a bunch of hard rewrites. I mean, I can't tell you all the times in New York, I've had my play Legends and Bridge. Some guy said, I like it, but you have a great seed of a play here. And I rewrote the whole damn thing. And then he wouldn't even return my call. In New York, I've had people go, we love your musical, which actually ended up being produced off Broadway, by the way, as is. Um, but I had the hell of a time in New York because people would go, "We love your work, but," and I think as artists, anytime we hear that word "but" in our, like, "We love your but," run, get out, because your work is not being appreciated;
Yeah.
it's being devalued. And I know I'm kind of on a stump, but that's sort of the way I look at art now. I'm very protective of my art.
Yeah.
I don't. In fact, I actually wrote a screenplay, my first screenplay I ever wrote. I gave it to someone and I was going right along and pitching it and getting it read. This one jerk I gave it to was not even in the industry. He handed it back to me. It's still a great script. It's funny as hell. He gave it back to me, and in it were all these like earmarked pages of the script, and inside were all his notes, and they were all critical. I don't get this. I don't understand. I read like 2 pages of it and I was like, and you know what I did? Okay. Did I keep sending it out? No. I put it in a drawer and I went on to something else. And I actually dug that script out a couple of months ago because I was copywriting it. I said, "This is a damn good script. It's funny. The characters are there. Why did I listen to this person? Why did I leave myself open to that attack?" It's like it's to me, being an artist is like owning a castle,
Mm.
and you have to be the king or queen of that castle. And you got to have that drawbridge up. You got to have the wall up. You got to have the moat in place. Because if you don't, everyone who has second opinions or a big mouth will come in and say stuff about your work. This past year, just I found a lot of people wanted to work with me and do things with me. I found myself saying no to a lot of them just to give myself a distance. And I've learned to say, let me think on this and let me get some more facts before I say yes. Yeah. And I think as artists, we're so quick because we want that validation. We're so quick to jump in that we don't ask ourselves, who is this person and what are they bringing to the party and are they capable? That's a big thing. Are they capable? That is exactly what I tell people is if you have a passion for something, then that means you're meant to do it. And the universe gives you the signs and the clues. Follow them. And 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 I also tell people beware of the dangers too, because you don't want to get into the quicksand of things. You want to actually be able to keep your boat going, and you want to keep your troops going too. You want to, and that's such a great thing. And the fact that you're now here at Stage 32 and you're in LA. I mean, this is where, it finally dawned on me in December. I finally just, I've done a lot of theater and all that. And the big revelation I had this December was I'm right here in LA. I need to be in the film TV community, not doing theater on the side. And so something big happened to me in this past December. I just said,
as I long distance high five.
I said, I want to work in TV and film, and that's what I'm going to do. And so I just took all of this theater stuff and I said, I'm going to put it over here and I'm going to focus on getting a literary agent. I'm going to focus on all the things that I've wanted to focus on, but never have. And now I'm forging ahead. My screenplays are being read. All of this stuff has started to happen in synchronicity, but it all started with the decision. Mm-hmm. It was almost like the decision I made when I signed up with Stage 32. I was like, there's got to be a better way to get acting work than this old way, which I don't like. There's got to be something out there for my talent, and I'm going to find it. And I did. And that's the thing. That's how I now feel about my career in TV and film. Like I'm making the decision. And when you make the decision, it's like the whole universe responds to that decision. I have loved getting to know you, and I'm so happy that we actually got to meet today.
Me too. You're just delight.
You are too. Okay. Tell RBS said hello.
If you'd like to meet more professionals in the film, television, and new media industry, join us on the worldwide social media network at stage32.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Stage32.